Okay, for you people who like my channel and follow my channel, I'm going to do a little bit of a special report. I'm going to tell you where I think the price of silver is going to go in the next little while. Now, if you remember about, must have been a week or two ago, when silver was charging up into the 18s, I said that silver was going to go back down into the 17s. But I said it wasn't going to go a lot in the short term. I said it wasn't going to go a lot lower. Well, silver right now is at an inflection point. Now, I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. It depends on whether the Fed is successful or not at what they're trying to do with raising interest rates. And this is going to be big. Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen with the prices of silver. If the Fed is successful at raising interest rates and they're successful at bringing about a recession, which is what they're actually trying to do, believe it or not. The Fed's trying to bring a recession by selling their $4.5 trillion in toxic bonds and assets into the market, and also raising interest rates 25. They might even raise 50 basis points to a time. If they're successful at this, they're going to bring on a recession. And if they bring on a recession, this is going to be deflationary, and the price of silver is going to drop. It's going to happen. It could drop even down below 17. But here's what's going to happen. If that happens, silver inventories and the physical supply is very constrained. Honest to Pete, there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, there's lots of silver in the physical silver. No, it's not true. It's been dwindling ever since back in the 80s. The United States had 13 billion ounces in their above ground, not the United States, but the world had 13 billion ounces in the above ground inventories back in the 80s. That's not there anymore. It's been slowly being consumed by industry. Industry's been consuming it. It ends up in computers and stuff and in landfills. It's not recoverable. Most of the people who are buy and hold, buy Silver Eagles and stuff and put them away, they're not moving them back into the market until the prices are substantially higher so you can forget about them. And this has been cutting into inventory every year. Some years it cuts in by 50 million ounces. Some years it cuts in by more. It cuts into the world inventory. And that world inventory has been depleting and depleting. The United States Geological Survey did a survey on silver, and they said that by the year 2020, I think it was the year 2020, that silver would be the first metal that would be starting to go extinct. Actually, quite literally go extinct, because they've went through and they've found all of the mines and resources all over the earth. They've hunted through and they've found all the big resources, and they've mined out the best veins of silver. And now what's happening is it's actually going to be going into decline. And so the amount of silver coming in, which is about 800 million ounces a year, I believe, and industry uses a good chunk of that. Initially, silver bar and coin demand is increasing every year, and what we're doing is we're heading toward a crunch, simply put. And the people that have silver when the crunch hits aren't going to sell into the market until the price is substantially higher. It's as simple as that. So here's what's happening. If the price drops significantly because the Federal Reserve is successful, say the Federal Reserve is successful in what they're trying to do, we get a substantial price drop, and we drop back down into 17 to 16 to 15, we might even drop down to 14, you're going to see what's left of the physical inventories, silver inventories on Earth, deplete, and we're going to go into this shortage. A real honest to gosh silver shortage. And now that doesn't mean that there's no silver. There'll be people holding silver. It just means that there's not going to be any for you to buy. It means that the people that have it aren't going to be selling it to you. Not for $14. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that there's an actual silver shortage. Now, I want to set this straight. I've told a lot of you guys, you think that when I'm saying a silver shortage, that I mean that there's no silver. Oh, there's still going to be silver. It's just that you're not going to have it for $14. You get it? And the people that have it are going to, and once the price starts to shoot up, and I mean shoot up like a rocket, they ain't going to sell it until the price gets up to a point where they think it's worth their while. And J.P. Morgan, he's got all kinds of silver. He's got 400 million ounces of the stuff above ground. He's got all kinds of it. But you might as well consider to kiss that goodbye, because he ain't going to sell it to you for $14. Those bankers, like J.P. Morgan, they do not hoard something and keep it in a vault and have to watch it 24 hours a day, which costs them a lot of money, unless they know that they're going to make a lot of money. And I can tell you right now, J.P. Morgan is thinking 10-bagger. And he's paid somewhere around probably his cost, that he's cost average on the stuff, is because he started buying it back when it was up to like $30, and he's been buying it all the way through, and he has to cost average. And his cost average is probably somewhere around $20 an ounce. So he ain't going to sell it to you for $14. Do you think these guys are in to take a loss? He's thinking 10-bagger. So if he bought it at $20 an ounce, he wants to get 200 out of it an ounce. So now you can get an idea what the price of silver is going to do too, because he'll probably get at least 200 an ounce. And so when it goes up. But here's the thing. If the Fed's successful in what they're trying to do, silver could go down as low as $14. But if they do that, silver's going to disappear, and we're going to go into the shortage, and that's when the price is going to shoot up. So, and also at the same time the silver price shoots up, if they're able to drive it down to 14, if they bring about this recession, then they're going to have to go back to quantitative easing. They're going to have to start stimulating again. They're going to have to change all of this stuff that they're doing with this tightening that will cause a recession. When they go back into recession, then they'll have to swing around and go back into quantitative easing. They'll have to start doing helicopter money. They'll have to then drop their interest rates back down to zero again, you see. And then what'll happen is that'll shoot the silver up even faster. So silver will go up if the Federal Reserve is successful at bringing about a recession, and they do drop the price of silver. If they're successful, they're only going to make it go up in the end anyway, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, let's look at the alternative of that. If the Fed is not successful, if the Federal Reserve is not successful and they raise interest rates and the dollar continues to lose value, then there's going to be a mad rush into silver. Honest to Pete. And the same blooming thing's going to happen. It's going to be just as bad, if not worse. So what I'm trying to tell you here is ultimately in the long term. In the short term, you might get silver drop back down to 14 if the Fed's successful. But in the long term, look at the long-term picture. Forget the short-term picture. Either way this goes, if the Fed's successful and they drop the price down to 14, ultimately the price is going to shoot up. And if the Fed's not successful, the price is going to shoot up. So both ways, both directions. It's just that in one direction, if the Fed's successful, you're going to get a little dip before the price shoots up. See? Now don't let that dip shake you out of the tree. They're like a bear coming, and you're up in the tree, and they're going to try to shake you out of the tree. And if you sell your position, you're going to be ever so sorry later. Don't let them shake you out of the tree. And if you decide to buy, actually right now is a great time to buy silver, because we've got a little price reduction, and we might, if the Fed's successful, we might get the ultimate price reduction. It might go back down to 16 or 15. I think by the time it gets 14 or below, it's all going to disappear. So you got to get in there, and even if you pay a little, what's the difference? If you pay $17 an ounce or $18 an ounce, what's the difference when the price gets up to 400? Whether you paid 17 or 18 or even 25 or even 30. when the price gets up to 400, who cares what you paid? You bought it cheap, even if you bought it at 30 or if you bought it at 15, or who cares? You got some. The problem is these people that didn't get some, they're the ones that's going to be crying in their coffee. You know? So if you like what I got to say, like and subscribe. And this is a special for just for you guys who are my subscribers, and I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for subscribing, and thank you very much for hitting that like button every time. You guys are great. You rock. See you later. Bye-bye for now.